Have you ever felt like you don't belong? As if there's an inexplicable void inside you? The answer might lie in your childhood. Our childhood is the foundation upon which we build our identity. The love and support we receive during those formative years are crucial for our emotional development. However, when that love is absent, it can leave invisible scars that follow us into adulthood. In this video, we'll uncover 11 hidden signs of an unloved childhood and how they affect our relationships, self-esteem, and worldview. But don't worry, we'll also provide practical solutions inspired by Stoic wisdom to overcome these challenges. Stay until the end, because the 11th sign might be the most relevant to you. Before we begin, if you find value in these videos, please like, subscribe, and click the notification bell to stay updated. Now, let's begin this journey of self-discovery together. Are you ready? A lack of love in childhood can leave a deep wound that persists into adulthood, affecting our ability to form secure and healthy relationships. Imagine trying to build a house on cracked and unstable foundations. Similarly, without love as a base, our relationships become shaky and risk collapsing at the slightest challenge. You might find yourself constantly doubting your partner's intentions, even when there's no apparent reason, or clinging desperately to a relationship out of fear of being abandoned. These are just a few examples of how early emotional neglect can manifest later in life. The Stoics teach us that while we cannot control what happened in the past, we can control how we respond to it in the present. Epictetus, one of the great Stoic philosophers, said, "It's not events that disturb us, but our opinions about them." In other words, while we can't change our past, we can transform our internal narrative. Recognizing that our struggles with attachment stem from early experiences is the first step toward healing. From there, we can begin rewriting our story by cultivating self-compassion and learning to trust ourselves and others again. It's not an easy path, but it's a necessary one if we want to build strong and fulfilling relationships. As Seneca, another great Stoic thinker, said, "It's not because things are difficult that we don't dare. It's because we don't dare that they are difficult." So I invite you to dare to face your fears and open yourself to love, knowing that you deserve nothing less. When we grow up without receiving the love we need, that emotional void can lead us down dangerous paths. We may engage in behaviors that provide temporary relief, but ultimately cause more harm than good. Have you ever found yourself turning to alcohol or drugs to numb the pain, or entering toxic relationships, believing that's the best you can get? These are just some ways the wound of early emotional neglect can manifest through self-destructive behaviors. It's like trying to fill a bottomless pit with rocks and dirt, not realizing what we really need is clear, nourishing water. The more we try to cover that void with harmful habits, the deeper it becomes and the harder it is to escape. But all is not lost. The first step to breaking this cycle is becoming aware of these patterns. As the Stoic philosopher Epictetus said, "You cannot begin a new path until you realize where you stand now." So I invite you to observe your behaviors with honesty and compassion, without judging yourself. From there, you can gradually replace those destructive behaviors with healthier ones. Instead of seeking comfort in a bottle, try taking a walk in nature or having an honest conversation with a friend. Instead of clinging to a toxic relationship, why not take the opportunity to know yourself better and cultivate self-love? It's not easy to unlearn deeply ingrained patterns, but remember the words of Marcus Aurelius, "The happiness of your life depends on the quality of your thoughts." Each time you choose a positive thought and a loving action toward yourself, you take a step toward healing. Trust issues can be an invisible barrier that prevents us from connecting authentically with others. When we grow up without receiving the love and security we need, we start to see the world as a hostile place full of potential threats. We find ourselves constantly questioning others' intentions, looking for signs of betrayal or abandonment, even when they aren't there. It's as if we wear dark glasses that tint our perception of reality, making us see shadows where there could be light. This deep-rooted distrust can manifest in various ways. You might find yourself keeping people at a safe distance, fearing that if you let them get too close, they will inevitably hurt you. Or you may be unable to open up fully out of fear of being judged or rejected. Whatever your particular experience, the truth is that this barrier prevents us from forming genuine and fulfilling bonds. We miss the chance to truly know others and be known on a deep level. Lowering our guard can be terrifying, especially when we've been hurt before. But consider Seneca's words, "Dare to disregard appearances, for they are the source of our fears." What if, instead of assuming the worst, we dared to give others the benefit of the doubt? This doesn't mean being naive or ignoring red flags, but being willing to see beyond our projections. It means giving ourselves the chance to be pleasantly surprised by others' kindness and authenticity. Of course, this is a gradual process that requires patience and self-compassion. It's not about forcing ourselves to trust blindly overnight, but about taking small steps toward openness. Perhaps you could start by sharing something personal with a close friend and seeing how they respond. Or maybe join a group that encourages vulnerability and mutual support. Each time you choose to trust, you strengthen your ability to create meaningful connections. Remember that you deserve to love and be loved at a deep, authentic level. A lack of love in your childhood does not define your worth or your potential to build strong connections now. Let's come together to support our community. If you are a kind person, please hit the like button on this video and leave some energetic comments to spread positive vibes. Together, we can make a difference. Growing up without the love and validation we need can easily make us believe we're not good enough. That inner critical voice telling us we don't deserve love or value can become a constant presence in our lives. It's like being trapped in a room full of distorted mirrors that only show our flaws and mistakes. But it's essential to remember that this distorted image isn't reality. Just as a broken mirror doesn't reflect our true appearance, those negative beliefs about ourselves don't define who we really are. They're merely the result of painful experiences that have made us doubt our own worth. The good news is that we can begin rebuilding our self-esteem one step at a time. It's like repairing a broken vase. It may take time and patience, but in the end, we'll have a unique and beautiful piece with scars that tell a story of resilience. A first step is to challenge those critical thoughts. When you find yourself thinking, "I'm not good enough," ask yourself, is this really true? Or is it just a limiting belief I've carried since childhood? Sometimes, simply recognizing that these thoughts aren't facts can help reduce their power. Another important step is to start treating ourselves with the same compassion and care we'd offer a loved one. If your best friend were going through a tough time, would you tell them they're worthless or undeserving of love? Probably not. So why say it to yourself? Practice speaking kindly and understandingly to yourself, as you would to someone you love deeply. Remember, your worth as a person isn't defined by your achievements, appearance, or external approval. You are inherently valuable simply because you exist. As Marcus Aurelius said, "You are not what others think you are what you decide to be." So choose to believe in your intrinsic goodness and your capacity to heal and grow. When we grow up without the love we need, it's easy to fall into the trap of constantly seeking others' approval. We become emotional chameleons, adapting to what we think others want to see in us, just to receive even scraps of affection and validation. But here's the harsh truth. No matter how hard we try, we can never fill that void with external approval. It's like trying to quench our thirst with salt water. The more we drink, the thirstier we become. This behavior often stems from our childhood. If we didn't experience the unconditional love we deserved, we learned that we had to earn affection through actions or achievements. What if, instead of desperately seeking external validation, we started cultivating self-acceptance? Imagine waking up every morning knowing that you are enough, just as you are. I know it might seem like a distant concept, especially if you've spent years chasing others' approval, but I assure you, it's possible. It's like learning to walk after using crutches your whole life. It may feel unstable and scary at first, but with practice, you'll be amazed at the freedom you'll feel. Start by observing your thoughts. Each time you catch yourself seeking someone's approval, pause and ask, do I really need this person's validation to feel good about myself? Then, try redirecting that energy inward. Instead of looking for compliments from others, give one to yourself. Acknowledge even your smallest accomplishments. Surround yourself with people who appreciate you for who you are, not just for what you can do for them. Seek authentic relationships where you can be yourself without masks. Practicing self-compassion is also crucial. When you make a mistake or face rejection, treat yourself with the same kindness and understanding you'd offer a friend. Remember, we're all human, learning and growing at our own pace. Unlearning deeply rooted patterns can be challenging, and there will be days when you find yourself seeking external validation again. But every time you choose to redirect your attention toward your intrinsic worth, you take a step towards self-acceptance. When we grow up in an environment lacking love and stability, we may develop an intense need to control every aspect of our lives as adults. It's like building a fortress to protect ourselves from the unpredictability of the outside world. This can manifest as perfectionism, micromanaging, or a reluctance to accept help from others. We may find ourselves resisting authority figures, seeing any form of direction or correction as a threat. In the workplace, this could look like struggling to accept feedback, frequently challenging supervisors, or even sabotaging our success out of fear of being controlled. The first step toward breaking this pattern is recognizing when our reactions stem from past wounds. When we catch ourselves resisting authority or rejecting help, we can pause and ask, am I reacting based on past pain, or does this situation truly warrant my resistance? Another essential step is learning to distinguish between healthy and unhealthy authority. Not all leaders use their power to control or manipulate. Some use it to guide and empower others. As we develop this discernment, we can learn to see authority not as a threat, but as an opportunity to grow, learn, and collaborate. Imagine what it would feel like to approach work without the weight of resistance and distrust. We could open ourselves to mentorship, embrace constructive feedback, and build strong alliances with leaders and peers. Rewriting this narrative is not about surrendering control, but about redefining how we interact with power and guidance. Let's build a community of kindness by subscribing to Stoicism for Success right now and sharing it with those you wish to see live with kindness and strength like us. Let's spread these positive values together. Perfectionism often stems from the belief that we must be flawless to be loved. We tie our worth to our achievements and set impossibly high standards, leaving ourselves feeling exhausted and empty. It's like trying to fill a leaky bucket. No matter how much we pour in, it's never enough. We may obsess over every detail, constantly compare ourselves to others, and feel inadequate, regardless of our accomplishments. This inner critic can be relentless, making us believe that love must be earned through perfect performance. To break free from this cycle, we must challenge the belief that love depends on perfection. True love, whether from others or ourselves, isn't conditional on flawless performance. It's an inherent right, not something we must prove ourselves worthy of. As we internalize this truth, we can begin to let go of the need to be perfect. We can see mistakes as opportunities for growth rather than evidence of our unworthiness. Practice celebrating your efforts and progress, no matter how small. When we treat ourselves with the same compassion we'd offer a loved one, we start replacing self-criticism with self-acceptance. Every act of kindness toward ourselves plants seeds of healing and transformation. Without a healthy model of love in childhood, we may struggle to recognize what a nurturing relationship looks like. We can confuse chaos and emotional highs with passion, becoming drawn to toxic dynamics that mirror familiar patterns from our past. We might find ourselves in relationships where we're manipulated, mistreated, or undervalued, yet stay because it feels familiar. This cycle can be subtle, creeping in until our self-worth is shattered once again. Breaking this cycle starts with acknowledging that the toxic patterns we experience aren't our fault, they're a result of past conditioning. However, we have the power to change this narrative by redefining what we accept in relationships. Learning to set boundaries, communicate our needs, and prioritize our well-being are essential steps toward healthier connections. Surrounding ourselves with people who value and respect us helps reinforce our sense of worth. It can be frightening to leave behind the familiar, even if it's unhealthy. But I promise there's something much better waiting on the other side. Authentic, supportive relationships built on mutual respect and love. Anxiety and depression often linger as shadows when we grow up without the love we deserved. Early experiences of emotional neglect can plant seeds of doubt and sadness that take deep root within us. It's like waking up each morning with a heavy weight on your chest or living under a constant cloud of dread. You might feel trapped in a fog of apathy, devoid of energy or motivation. These emotional struggles are echoes of battles from the past, a time when we didn't receive the love and security we needed to thrive. But healing is possible. The first step is recognizing that anxiety and depression aren't character flaws, they're wounds that need care and understanding. Cultivating self-compassion can be a powerful balm. When you find yourself stuck in negative patterns, try offering yourself the kindness you would give a dear friend. Additionally, caring for your physical well-being through regular exercise, balanced nutrition, and restorative sleep can send a powerful message of self-love. With time, compassion, and the right support, those seeds of doubt can be replaced with seeds of hope, blossoming into a brighter vision of yourself and your future. Your past might explain where you are now, but it doesn't have to define your destiny. You hold the power to rewrite your story. Growing up without emotional support can make it hard to set healthy boundaries. You may find yourself saying yes even when it costs you time, energy, or well-being, hoping to earn affection or avoid conflict. But this pattern can turn you into a magnet for people who take advantage of your kindness. The first step toward breaking this cycle is realizing that your needs matter just as much as anyone else's. Setting boundaries isn't selfish, it's an essential act of self-love and self-respect. Learning to say no can be intimidating, especially if you've spent a lifetime saying yes. Some people might not understand, and a few may even distance themselves. But in setting limits, you'll also attract those who love and respect you for who you are, not just for what you can do for them. That lingering feeling of emptiness can be one of the deepest scars left by an unloved childhood. You might try to fill this void with relationships, work, hobbies, or even unhealthy coping mechanisms, hoping something external will complete you. But here's the truth. No external source can fill an internal void. It's like trying to fill a bucket with a hole in the bottom. No matter how much you pour in, it will always drain away. The key to healing this emptiness is recognizing that you are the source of your own love and fulfillment. Building a compassionate relationship with yourself, practicing self-care through nourishing food, exercise, and mindful rest, and embracing your emotions, even the painful ones, can start filling that inner space. Allow yourself to feel your full range of emotions. Often, when we grow up without secure attachments, we learn to suppress our feelings out of fear of rejection. But part of healing is embracing all that you are, including your pain and vulnerability. As you heal, you'll begin creating a stable sense of inner security. Your past may explain who you are, but it doesn't have to define you. The power to write your future is in your hands. Embrace it because you are worth every effort. If you've made it this far, write in the comments, "I will live stoically," so we know who the resilient souls are who stayed until the end. Don't forget to subscribe, enable notifications, and like the video so you won't miss any of our upcoming content. Thank you for watching this video. Let's support our wonderful community by hitting subscribe and turning on notifications right now. Show everyone that you're living kindly by liking the video and sharing your experiences in the comments. Take action now to spread positive energy.